Guru Aletta, and this is a wonderful system she set up for you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 batteries. Over here we have the 2 links distributors. That's the charging side, is it?
Yeah, that's for the batteries. All the batteries connect on the first 2.
Yep. And then there's the other 2, which is for the load.
And charging.
Load and charging, and our BMS, battery management system, 500 volts.
Then you have a 24 volt bus, positive and negative there.
Yep. Red positive, black negative. Coming onto this side, we have the isolation transformer.
You have the master and slave inverter. You have your load battery protector there, SBP smart battery protector.
Yep, there it is
And
there.
a big 250 amp T fuse below it for your loads to your DB.
That's the fuse below it.
That big fuse, yeah.
And
Next to
the
it,
DC to DC converter.
you're stepping your 24 volts down to 12 volts. It's limited, it's a small little guy, and it's mostly just for instrumentation. We don't use that to power up USBs, etc. We're trying to use it only for instrumentation, like your navigation, backbones, and so on.
Okay, over here we have
You have your Solis latch, and you have your 12 volt bus system here. This is 12 volts. The other one is 24 volts. Then you have your fans for extraction, and not extraction, sorry, it blows cool air into the transformers.
okay, because those transformers will generate a little bit of heat.
Yeah, so yeah, they do generate, especially on a hot day. It's advisable to maybe just lift up this one seat if you feel that it's too hot.
Just looking at our fans here, this one underneath, behind the fridges, will suck cold air in the space. And then this little fan here sucks the air out. And then what we showed just earlier, these 2 fans will also suck air into. So air's coming in here, blows over the transformers, and then gets sucked out that way. We've also got some air coming in over the batteries there, which will also get sucked out there.
Really bad, yeah. When you have rough seas, make sure your connections are all fast. Do a bit of a shake on them, make sure they don't come loose. You shake the battery. You don't need to use a lot of force. If it's loose, you will immediately see a movement because of the leverage of the cable.
Yeah.
So take over inspection. You can open up your links distributors, shake them up as well if you feel like that. Check for anything that looks like a hotspot. In general, if you get a hotspot, you will start to smell electrical fire or heat, and that's something that you will immediately, that's a very distinct smell. Sometimes if it's getting a bit worse, you will smell something like rotten eggs. Gives you an indication of maybe look around and see maybe you have a hotspot. But yeah, in general, everything should stay stable. Remember, this is a brand new boat, so cabling is still having its own tension and its own way of getting settled. Especially after your maiden voyage, I would advise going through and making sure everything is fast and did not shift in the meanwhile. Like I said, the cables are in the winter time as well now, so cables needs to settle and have their, start to get their form as the temperature changes with the system and it stays in that full position. So this body is now basically, let's say roughly in between 4 to 8 weeks. Anything in that area where the cables has been installed. So it's still a little bit brand new and they still have a mind of their own. Let's put it like that.
Okay, so we'd also would we check the these fuses and make sure everything's tight there as well?
Yeah, so you can just wiggle your wires. If you find something loose, you will just torque them up a bit. That sadly, like I said, cable has a memory inside of them until they have settled into their solid position. It usually takes around about anything between 6 to 8 months for a cable that size to sort of stabilize. and not start, you know, the wiggle jiggle or the move or whatever. So it's strongly advised that you check that always.
So if we found a cable that's loose, do we shut the system down before putting metal spanners and tightening?
Yeah,
or?
you can, but if it's just a battery terminal, you don't need to shut down the whole boat to do that. You can just be careful with your spanner and
Don't touch anything else except what you tighten.
Just stay away from the negatives when you work on a positive.
Yeah.
And see where you have your handle on it.
Okay.
So yeah, short spanners is usually advised, and go with the long.
Or sockets.
Yeah, socket as well, but that's also having long handles. But
Yeah.
if you have one with a rubber handle, it's safer to work with than a exposed spanner. Also, maybe at the end, you can put a little rag across the back there if you work with the spanner, and if you touch accidentally, the rag will isolate it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you have your first line protection, which is a 250 amp class T fuse. Your battery is rated 200 amps, so this is why it's 250 amps, because the battery can spike. Okay, and then you have the battery latch, which is a 500 amp battery latch. If I remember, I might be correcting it as a 300 amp. I just need to go remember the code. I can't. Okay, I did a bunch of research. I might mix up my amp rate, but this definitely is minimum 300 amps to 500 amps then. Okay, from there you go into the links distributor, each one on a mega fuse, which is also a 250 amp mega fuse. These ones are activated in your system, so if you blow a fuse in this circuit here, you will get an alarm on your Victron system. If you lose the fuse connection, you will definitely hear it. It'll let you know. So if you open up, then you'll see a red light come on showing you which one has popped. So let's say that fuse blew, you'll see a red light and you know, okay, this fuse needs to be replaced. Then you have to shut down the whole system. Okay. Another thing then about the batteries, they are connected in parallel, so which means you'll have your 24 volt band and 1000 amps hours in this case in total of your boat. Okay, then from there we are also having a network connection on each battery system. As you can see, this is a BMS M8 cable. Each battery has two cables coming in and out from it. So it's a loop all the way, just makes one big loop. If there's a fault, this will happen. And your boat will shut down. So once you have connected, and this is the way you test it, so just to make sure that your network is active and sensing. And there you go, here's the battery bank ready. As soon as it doesn't see any faults, it'll activate charging and discharging again. So
that's quite neat.
Yeah, so your BMS, if there's a fault on the network, it will shut down your boat, it'll kick out the contact, and it won't allow charge or discharge.
So we really protect the battery as well.
Yeah, so this is a manual shut-off that we will do on the dead ship in a little bit. But for now, I just want to explain to you about your battery bank. Okay, so that's how your battery bank connects into your system. You have parallel cable connections on your each battery on two fuses into the system firstly, and then secondly you have a network monitoring them all via their own electronics on each battery, talking to the BMS via those M8 cables. Okay, so now your battery life will charge and discharge in its cycles, which is rated for, as you can check on your manuals. I think it's like 30,000 or 20,000, I can't remember exactly how much, but it's quite a lot of charging, discharging operations happening on this guy, so that's why they can last for 5 years.
Or longer.
Or longer, depending how you treat them. Okay, so if you're going to completely drain them all the time and completely charge them up, they won't last as long as when you use like 50-60% of it. So then you will have a little bit more lifespan on your battery. It's about the plates in the battery. The more you discharge, the more it has to charge, the more the plate needs to work, and wear and tear in the battery, and that's how it starts to lose its charge quicker and all of those.
So ideally you don't want to take it past 40% or 50%.
Yeah, 40% is your shut off is on 30%.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
30% you will start getting warnings, and if you go lower down to 10%, it will shut down the boat to protect the battery from being killed completely to 0%. You don't want to go to 0% because the moment you hit the 0 and you completely drain it, you lose the electronic control of it, and the battery will refuse to start up again. You won't be able to link and you won't be able to charge.
Okay, but it shuts down at 10%, so we should theoretically never get
Yeah,
there.
so which means if you have a crisis, at 30% you'll get an alarm and they'll tell you, hey, your batteries is flat, you need to charge them. So either solar, start your engines, whatever you need to do, if there's no mistake on the system. Let's say you have a bit of an error and there's a battery issue, you can actually isolate each battery independently. If there's a battery that is giving you problems and you can run on the other 4, you must just adjust the settings accordingly. So if that system ever happens, I will obviously be there to help you and guide you how to do that.
Thanks to Starlink, we can talk to you from anywhere.
Anyway, okay, so let's say if you have to disconnect this battery, just to show you just as a hands-on. The first thing is you're going to switch this switch to that side. It kicks out this latch here. Okay, so now then your battery is completely isolated out of the system power wise. Electronic wise, you need to take these ones out and move it over. You know, you're going to disconnect. You take this one, you take it, take it off, and you follow that one, and you take it off, and you'll take that
So we
one
just
onto
bypass
here.
the battery
You just
we
take those
switched
2
off.
out and start the other 4 loops.
Okay.
So. But you can't plug them in incorrectly. They can only go male, female, male, female. So you can't swap them around and have a cross network. Okay. So that's the battery setup in a nutshell. Another thing about maintenance on your battery system, if you're charging and discharging frequently, you use the boat quite a little bit a lot, like washing machines, air cons, and you drain it down basically almost every 2 days and so on. I strongly advise that at least every 4 weeks you charge the bank fully up. Don't use a lot of loads. Charge the bank fully up to balance the batteries again. If the batteries are not going to see a full charge at least every 4 weeks, they will go in balance and they will shut down your boat.
Yeah. I mean, what I noticed when we sailed in the last boat is that on a sunny day, the solar takes the battery up to 100%.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah. So just if we don't see 100% fairly regularly, just do a full
You
charge.
have to make sure that you push it back up until you hit float mode. That's very important. You have to be in flotation mode, like 27 volts, 0 amps charging. That means the batteries is now in float. Then you have no charging functions activated because it will automatically stop charge. And then you press synchronize once you have checked each battery separately, making sure they are in balance and they are all happy. Sometimes you'll pick up, let's say, one battery you haven't charged up in 2 days, but the other batteries are now fully charged. Leave the system on charge. Make sure that it actually get that battery back up. Otherwise, you have to isolate that battery, charge it up separately, get it back into the bank, all at the same voltage. So it's very important to make sure that you keep your batteries balanced, because when they go in balance, it's a bit of a fight getting them back in action.
Okay, and we can make sure we do that. We can do it from the panel at the table, the chart table.
You will actually use your Bluetooth function to check your batteries.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so if you use your boat a lot and you discharge a lot, make sure that your batteries do at least once a month go into a full charge cycle and balance out, and then you synchronize them.
Okay.
Okay, if what I like to do, or what I advise, is when you want to do that function, you also want to test your charging circuits. In this boat's case, we have 2 alternators and we have solar and shore power. So we have only 3 charging functions, no generator. So if you plug into shore power, you will basically have a dock side and you will just shut down, don't start your engines and shut down your solar. Use your shore power to charge your system up to the full 100%. That way you know your charging system on your solar side, shore power, is working, and it's balanced, and then happiness. You do the same with the other two. For example, now you plug out your shore power, put it on. The next month you will use solar, put it on solar, don't use the boat, let it charge up on a lacquer hot day and so on, and make sure everything is balanced, synchronized. Then on your third month, after that 4 weeks, charge it back up with the engines, make sure it's happy, synchronize. So as long as we have that, but make sure you go into float mode. If you're going to synchronize it while it's still in the charging side, which means your voltage won't be 27, it'll be 28.4 or 28.2. It'll be above 27. So if you synchronize it, then your system might go in balance because it'll have a stop charge.
Okay.
Okay. So talking about what a stop charge is. Your batteries will charge up to 100%. As soon as it's 100%, it'll go into absorption for 2 hours, and this cycle will automatically happen every 7 days. So you go into an absorption cycle and you'll hit float mode after that. Once you've hit float mode and you're synchronized, you can start draining your batteries. Your system will not start or a recycle charging unless it's hit the state of charge floor. So I usually set it to 90%. This basics on the boat is 70%, but for me that's a little bit too low. Okay, so I put it on 90%. The boat will drain from fully charged, stop charge. No, nothing is charging now because it's full. The boat starts to drain. 90%, charging activates automatically solar, charging activates automatically from shore power, because now we hit the floor. Now we want to charge the batteries back up. So that happens all in the background of your system. If you go into a 70%, why I don't go there so low is, let's say you are having a cloudy day and you are sailing and you're not really using your engine, so now your system goes down to 70% and it's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and now you're going to have to run your engines at night to keep the power if you're going to run air cons, for example.
Yeah.
So when it is going into nighttime, I do advise to make sure your batteries is not below 60-65%. Even 70% is already, because you will drop depending how you use the boat. In the standard average usable night when running a cup of coffee or some lights and stuff, you can drain around about 20 to 30% of your bank. If you're going to run air cons, it's going to be a lot more.
And if we're using the induction oven as well, or the cooking oven.
So yeah, if you're at 70% in the afternoon and you know you're not going to cook or wash or do anything, that's not a problem. But if you know you're going to do some air cons at night, after night, you're going to have to run your engines to 3 o'clock in the morning to get your batteries back up, because you'll get alarms. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the battery bank and how to treat it at this point.